wanted to ask you, I mean, after 10 years of doing this band, this time around, this was the most fun, creative dynamic that you've had when you were forming a record for Anon. What was it about that? What led to this?
I think, look, it was a kind of a thing of, you know, what we'd done on previous records was so stressful. I mean, even though we got the end result, like we're still, you know, I don't think we'd do anything different with Dissonance and Unimagined, for example. But we put them together in, you know, periods of time where it was just, there was so much touring happening in our career, and we're doing so much traveling that we kind of didn't really have time to really sit and figure out what kind of album we wanted to make. So, yeah, like, and we just said from the outset, hey, we want to do this the way that we wanted to do the last couple of records, and didn't have the time and opportunity. So, you know, we took 6 months to just write a few songs here and there and just figure out where the album was headed as a whole, and then kind of, you know, by figuring out what kind of album we wanted to make, it meant that when we actually kind of settled on what it was going to be, yeah, we just had the focus and the direction to make it what we wanted it to be.
You've previously mentioned your music is reflective of who you are as individuals.
Yeah.
I mean, what was at the heart of your expressions this time around? I guess there's a lot of bedlam in the world, a lot of chaos.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, you like to tell the story, but it's got to have some depth to it as far as you're concerned. So what was at the center of your lyrical, you know, expressions this time?
I think it was just relaxing. You know, letting the songs kind of happen. It was, you know, for me there was that separation of self from, because, you know, I've had 3 albums to kind of write about my own experiences, I guess, and my own stories, my own perspective on the world, and obviously, you know, my voice is always going to lend itself, you know, not necessarily purely my voice from a, like, you know, physical standpoint, but I actually mean from, like, you know, my character and my perspective is always going to be shown through any story I tell. But this time around, I don't know, I just wanted to kind of separate from the perception of these songs are about me and my life. It's more looking to people around me and looking at, and kind of almost like lending my voice and my, you know, my take on the world through their perspective. And I don't know, it was quite liberating for me, and I think that was kind of the starting point of just relaxing and just I'm just telling stories. I'm not telling a story, a single, like, I'm not trying to create a single narrative. It's just everything was just its own thing, and I could kind of just explore that as a storyteller, and, you know, relate to the songs as much as I was trying to relate the songs to me, and that in itself was a nice kind of just change of perspective on the way that we do things.
And this time around, the band, you know, it was very much a collaborative effort. You've stated that each of you just kind of went away and did your own thing and came together with a batch of ideas, and it helped you guys to excel in a way. I mean, it was a different way of doing things, but do you feel that allowed you to flourish more so with the overall...
I think so, yeah. I mean, a lot of the time that I spent was working one-on-one with Colin, our producer, just kind of, you know, workshopping ideas, throwing things out, and kind of saying, oh, what about this? And like, oh, no, I think we need to keep that melody. So how can we change the phrasing? Okay, that phrasing's not working. How can we change the lyrics to kind of still fit the overall, you know, narrative, but still, you know, fit that melody and that new sort of energy or direction? And I think just locking down like that just gave us a chance to kind of, I'm always someone that works better with, you know, 1 or 2 people at a time rather than a big group context. So for me, that really helped me, and they were able to kind of do the musical stuff at the other end of the studio and kind of focus in on that without me kind of constantly having to relate it to the vocals. And it kind of just, meant that we could get, you know, 8 weeks worth of work done in 4.
The track entitled Through Glass, what was it like to flesh out this track as a band? You know, did you have a direction in mind? Was the process more free-flowing?
That was one that actually kind of came together while I was still on my honeymoon. We did a session in Melbourne with a friend of ours, Callan, or from Dream On Dreamer, if you know the band. We were just kind of demoing some stuff at his house while we were between shows in Melbourne, and I remember that one coming together and had this like really clean feel for us, which was kind of odd. Like, it was just that, it was kind of that mix of, I guess, like the 1975 and bands like that in the neighborhood, things like that. It was just a lot more kind of a pure sort of tone, and yeah, I don't know, I think the rest of the music kind of came together, and I had a few ideas kind of going, and I don't know, that one actually came together really naturally. So it was kind of, I don't really remember there being much of a process other than just it came together in a few kind of short little bursts and just felt really nice and natural and open, and kind of kept it simple and raw.
For yourself, I mean, what's the story? What's the backstory with a track like Black? What does it convey to you?
Look, Black's definitely an outlier. I think it was kind of the first time I've really let myself kind of, I guess, give in to the angry side of me. You know, I mean, we've all been in situations that, you know, we all have a break point, but I think just in today's world especially, there's just this, there's so many people that you just see, like, whether it's people railing on things on the internet, people, you know, your uncle getting all worked up on Facebook about some, you know, right-wing far right conservative idea, and even just being in a room with someone who's just being an asshole. Like, we've all in those situations. For me, it was just kind of this amalgamation of all these times where you're just tearing your hair out on the inside, because it's like I don't know how to get through you, because it's just what you're saying, what you're doing, the way that you're communicating, what you're putting out into the world is just so repugnant to me that it's like I don't like. I know better than this. I don't want to escalate it, but fuck me, man. Like, and I think we've all been in that sort of situation. I don't know. I think it was the first time for me that I was able to kind of give myself over to that thought process without trying to restrain myself and kind of feel like I'm trying to make it palatable or correct. And that's why it is the angriest part of the record, and it's definitely the probably the heaviest thing and darkest song that we've done, because it is that over the line. I've always tried to keep a step back from the line, but this time just happy to fall over it and let it happen.
Monster, this track was featured in WWE Super Showdown, which was huge. I mean, that's a massive global event, as well as at the NFL as well, which I mean, their Monday night games are obviously massive as well. So that must have been quite cool to see your track, I mean, something you've written at home and it's come to life on such a global scale.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a new kind of world of opportunity for us. I mean, I think we've always made music that's a little bit nichey, so that those sort of outlets maybe it was just a little bit too dangerous for them, and to see the tracks that we've done that for us isn't sure, it's a little stylistically different, but overall, like, it still feels like the same us, to see that not only like received but embraced in that sort of thing, and seeing our fans react to it and kind of tweet and tag, and just getting text messages from fans I haven't spoken to in a few years saying that, holy crap dude, I just heard you on Monday Night Football, like, what the hell, what are you guys doing? I was like, just chilling, enjoying the ride. So it's it's still a really cool thing to see where that goes, and it's just putting us in front of more people. And we've had a lot of people come up to us and say, I'd actually even heard of you guys before I watched that thing, but we watched the show and we could hear it playing in the background like 10, 15, 20 times over the course of the night, and it's just cool to be in front of people.
It's not change that matters. Growth is always important and key. I mean, is that one of your biggest drives as you look ahead? I mean, not only do you wish to switch it up and offer new vantage points and new identities with your music, but is that a key factor, growth?
Yeah, certainly for us. I mean, we've always tried to kind of make a natural evolution between albums, like take everything one step at a time. But for us, I mean, we're humans. Our taste changes between records, especially when it's 2 or 3 years between writing one record and the next. And so what we listen to changes, and who we tour with even, and that impacts the way that we see music. And I think for us, like, creating something that is tangibly different kind of avoids direct comparison in a way. So it means that we can do, because if we tried to release another Dissonance, then it's like, well, are we trying to outdo Dissonance? And if we do, does that make Dissonance less worthwhile or less meaningful? You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to just take, for every step forwards to take a step to the side. Kind of just keeps that natural growth, and it feels more natural. We enjoy what we do more. I think if we felt like we were trying to regurgitate what we've already done, then I think we'd burn out very, very quickly, and we probably wouldn't be here today, 10 years later. Isn't that scary to think about?